really depends on which city you're in, what you're doing. Here we're in LA right now, so 2 a.m. the club is a wrap. So usually you're going to a house party somewhere in the hills, somewhere you might end up standing outside while there's 300 people trying to get in a very narrow door. I grew up in LA. I'm an LA kid. I was going out to clubs when I was in high school, just sneaking into clubs, seeing guys like DJ AM and Steve Aoki playing a lot of, Hollywood bougie clubs. And then there were sweaty underground rave dance parties that they were doing. And, it was just a really, really fun time in LA. But that's how I came up. I came up during that era, started playing in Vegas, all over the country, all over the world, doing events, clubs, and now putting records out. My name, I wish I had a good story where my name came from, but really it was just, my actual name is Paul, and we were sitting, I was like in high school, maybe even like junior high, like right as I was getting into DJing, I was like, I need a DJ name, and I was with some friends. We were trying to think of a name that has Paul in it. It was like Paul, Politics. Oh, but Politics is weird. Let's just drop the S, change the C to a K, and we got Politik. LA definitely influenced my music, my taste specifically, because really it was LA and New York were the two cities that kind of started playing, DJs started playing all different genres in one set. So up until, I want to say it was like the mid 2000s, DJs were kind of like very segregated. You were either like a house DJ, or you were a hip hop DJ, or you were a drum and bass DJ, or you were like a wedding bar mitzvah DJ. There was really no club DJs that were taking all these different genres of music and somehow making them all work and implementing the technical side of DJing. So like blending and scratching and doing all these tricks. So growing up in LA and being exposed to that really shaped my taste, because it was just so many different styles and genres of music that I was hearing when I was going out to clubs, and it was just shaping my perspective as a DJ. I remember my first gig, I was filling in for one of my old friends at a club on Beverly Boulevard and San Vicente, right by the Beverly Center. It was called Guys. And then now it's the Peppermint Club, which is a live music venue that is owned by H1 Group, who owns Delilah and Bootsy Bellows. But I do remember I was like probably 17, maybe 17. I filled in for my friend, and I think I got paid like $200. I was stoked. The evolution from DJ to producer is one that I think comes very naturally to DJs. It's kind of like a rite of passage, I think, because as DJs, our job is to study music, really. I mean, that's what we do. We figure out what records work, what parts of those records work, what parts of songs people sing along to, what parts of songs get stuck in your head. So as DJs, we're kind of like these like scientists of music. So it kind of makes sense eventually for you to just be like, all right, well, why don't I just make music? People think when people say producer, people think a producer just sits there and makes beats. That's not a producer. That's a beat maker. And all these things, it takes time to sort of understand how to communicate with a songwriter or with an artist, how to speak the same language as them. When you're writing music, when you're writing melodies, when you're writing lyrics, structuring the songs, being a good engineer, being able to communicate. If you're hiring an engineer to record and mix for you, being able to communicate with the engineer. So it's just been a very long process, and I've been very hands-on with it. I didn't really want to just buy songs and put songs out that I just bought. I really wanted to learn how to produce and learn every part of the process. So Wolf was in 2020. It was right in the middle of the pandemic, and I had been working with the artist that is featured on the song Death by Romy. We had some sessions. I was a huge fan of her music, and we had this record that we did, and it was really spooky and it was dark, and I had this vision for the video and for kind of how we were going to market it. It was right around Halloween, so we kind of like marketed it as like a Halloween record, and everything was closed. So like there were no clubs, there were no events. I wasn't touring at all. There was no end in sight, really. So it just kind of was one of those records that I felt like, let's put it out just to put it out, test the waters. I also learned a lot. I put that record out independently, but I was able to get it on some big playlists on Spotify and Apple. So it's just, everything's been a learning process. And especially when you're an independent artist, I think it's very important to sort of learn, when you put records out, learn from your mistakes, learn where you should be spending money, what content you should be making, and apply that to all the next releases you do. Disconnected came about, originally I went to see Fangs at Peppermint Club, which was where I gigged, had my first DJ gig, whenever it was, 10 years, even more, 15 years before that. And my manager took me to her showcase, and I was really blown away by how talented she was, by her performance, really her live performance and her style, and just the way she was, carrying herself on stage. I really wanted to work with her, and my manager was able to set that session up. We have like a bunch of songs that we did together. This one in particular, she played me a demo, and it was a hook, and it was like a 1 minute clip. So it was just the hook and that vocal chop and a very short beat that she worked on with a different producer, a guy named Phil Scully. And I thought there was something special about it. We hit up Phil, set up a session for the three of us, and we finished the song. And that's how it went down. I'm super proud of the video, how it came out. I was very lucky to get introduced to Mike through my manager, Adam, who worked with Mike on some of Sweetie's early videos. We got together. We flew to Vegas. I was DJing at Zouk in Vegas, and I flew Mike out. We had just met on FaceTime, and I just wanted to get to know him a little bit, and just kind of bring him into my world, to have him see one of my shows. And we hit it off. We actually found out his mentor is a guy named Jesse Torero, who I've known since I was a kid. He used to see me DJing out in all the LA clubs over the years. And he's like one of the biggest Latin video directors in the world. And I had no idea that was Mike's mentor. So that kind of brought us even closer together. And Mike came up with the concept. He sent me a treatment. We did like a few little adjustments. But really it was all Mike. I mean, he's really a genius. I think he's very, very underrated. I DJ'd this party for many years called Neon Carnival at Coachella. It was insane for many, many years. And one of the years, it's like 2016, 2017 maybe. Kind of make a long story short, one of my friends brought Gucci Mane with him to the party, and brought him on stage, and they kind of had a little issue getting in. It wasn't like as smooth as Gucci would have preferred. So he wasn't in the best mood. And my friend who brought him said that, he would potentially perform a song with me if it was, if everything went smooth and, he was in a good mood. He played the festival. He played Coachella that night. And he came up on stage and he was hanging out, and I kind of basically tried to get him to perform like a couple different times, and he wasn't having it. And I was drinking my 1942, I was feeling really confident. And after 2 times of him declining to perform, I basically just shut the music off and was basically I said Gucci, we got to give the people what they want. And he looked at me, and he's looked like he wanted to kill me. And he had just gotten out of prison, actually, maybe that year, definitely. And, I was just okay, cool. Moved on. The next day I was with my friend who brought him, and Gucci calls him, and he put on speaker, and he was basically he's like, yeah, your friend that was DJing that party, he's got balls. I was like, he said he's got balls. He's lucky that it wasn't the old Gucci and it's the new Gucci. So basically, I almost got myself killed at Coachella at Neon Carnival on stage, trying to force Gucci Mane to perform. The number one thing that annoys me, and I'm sure I speak for many, many DJs, is the constant Bad Bunny requests. It's honestly, I don't even know if it's we're getting trolled at this point, or if it's what it is, but the requests, it's only Bad Bunny. There's no other artist that girls, mostly it's girls, want to hear. You know, before at least it was like, okay, can you play this? Can you play that? It's like, nope, every time it's Bad Bunny now. And I will play Bad Bunny, but as soon as you start asking me to play Bad Bunny, I'm not playing Bad Bunny. I'm sorry. You got to just let me, either I play it or I don't. But if you put the Bad Bunny request in my face, sorry. I've always dreamed about playing Coachella, playing one of the big stages at Coachella. That's definitely top of my list in terms of goals for touring. Like, you know, playing a show, like that would be my number one show to play. I just played my first big festival in Michigan. It was called Electric Forest, and I had a blast. So yeah, I really enjoy like preparing for those types of sets. You know, you really got to put on a show. So looking forward to that one day. Vegas crowd is they're ready to turn up. You know, they're in Vegas, ready to, you know, get wasted, black out, dance, do something they probably will regret. And LA, I mean, at least the places that I've played in LA growing up and, you know, these past few years are a lot more boujie, I guess. I play a lot of kind of more high-end like bottle service clubs where people are just kind of there to be seen. They're kind of like on their phones and like they're not there to really let loose and party and dance the way that a crowd in Vegas or like Miami. Yeah, the LA nightlife, I mean, especially the kind of bottle service clubs, they're not really turning up. They're not dancing. I mean, some of the clubs, most of the clubs don't even have like a dance floor, you know? When I was growing up in LA, all the clubs had a dance floor. People would go and dance. Now it's just like bottles, tables. Whose table are you at? You know, how many girls are at your table? It's just kind of become this like, you know, not really a dance. They're not really dance clubs. They're like lounges, I guess. I like my Don Julio either neat or on the rocks. 1942, of course. And yeah, I mean, I guess a margarita is cool, or maybe like if I'm doing a mixed drink, like a tequila soda, but I try and keep it as like healthy and, you know, nothing too sweet and sugary. I like to taste the tequila. It's really smooth. So I like to, you know, taste it when I'm drinking it. And yeah,